Well, good morning. Thank you, everyone, for attending the June 2016 meeting of the MAPS 3 Advisory Board. As you can tell, I am not Dr. Tom McDaniel. He's out of town this morning, so I will be chairing your meeting. Thank you very much. And in his infamous words, the hour is upon us. We call our meeting to order. So our first order of business is to approve the minutes of our May 26, 2016 MAPS 3 Citizen Advisory Board meeting. You were furnished those minutes in your packet. Any discussion to those minutes? Motion for approval? A second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. The minutes have been approved. Our next item, we are to receive the MAPS 3 revenue and expenditure report ending May 31st, 2016, and the MAPS 3 budget and obligation report as of June 7th, 2016. Mr. Todd, if you could tell us about that, please.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chairman. You have in your packet the MAPS 3 revenue and expenditure report for the period ending May 31st, 2016. On the revenue side for the month, $9,181,372. For the fiscal year, $102,016,799. And for total program revenue to date, $630,341,371. On the expenditure side for the month, $7,874,239. I usually try to hit the highlights as far as the major items that were expensed. In the convention center, we've purchased a lot of land, and we have design ongoing. With the fairgrounds, we have construction ongoing, and most of that is, in fact, almost all of it is construction related. Same thing with the park. There's $1.2 million for utilities and the design that's going on there, and then the river is the wrap up of the construction out there. So then for the fiscal year, we have $80,052,722 for total expenditures on the program to date of $195,017,027. Then you also have your budget and obligations report, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have of either of these.
Any questions for Mr. Todd? Michael?
I'll move approval.
Very good. With your blessing, that's always a good thing. Second, all in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? The resolution is approved. Our next item is to recommend the resolution approving the amendment number 8, MAPS 3 Program Consultant Services Contract with ADG Incorporated, a fee increase of $2,387,448.80, retroactive to June 1st, 2016, which is project MC-G001.
I think, as you all know, ADG is our program consultant and performs a lot of services for us. They are an extension of our office. They review plans. They have representatives in the field. And this is the annual amendment to their contract for those services. I can answer any questions you might have.
David, what does it mean retroactive to July 1st?
It's anticipated that this will get to council after July 1st, and their contract starts on July 1, so that's why.
Yes, Mr. Neal.
Just a question, is this an increase negotiated, or is it a standard increment each year?
It's negotiated based on what we have with the program coming up in the next year. You know, we're heavily into a lot of construction, and we're heavily into major design right now. So that's drastically different than, say, the first or second years when we were putting the program, the MAPS 3 program together. So it is negotiated.
Okay. Just obviously we appreciate and admire what Mr. Mize and his group do, but just curious how we arrive at the number.
Any further questions or discussion? Motion for approval? Second? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? The resolution is approved. Our next item comes to us with both the approval of the Convention Center Subcommittee and the Parks Subcommittee. It's a recommend resolution approving amendment number 6 to the MAPS 3 Implementation and Coordination Agreement for the Core to Shore area entered into by the City of Oklahoma City and the Oklahoma City Urban Renewal Authority, an increase of $150,000 retroactive to July 1st, 2016.
Somewhat similar to the agreement we just approved is the agreement we have with Okura to do our land acquisition. So they're the ones that have acquired the land for the convention center and both the upper and lower park. And we continue right now with a few parcels in the convention center area and a few parcels in the lower park. So this would extend that for another year.
Any questions or discussion? Motion for approval. Second, please. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? This resolution also passes. Our next item is item number 6,
Right.
which you will see in front of you, revised item on this agenda.
I'd like to address that revision. Out of habit, we put on here the recommend resolution approving final plans and specifications. But in this case, there are no final plans. It should have just read specifications. So that's what the correction is with the memo.
So I will make that same change on our agenda. So the resolution reads, recommend resolution approving final plans for MAPS 3 Park environmental remediation, Upper Park.
Final specifications.
Final specifications, sorry. And authorizing the city clerk to advertise for bids to be received on July 26, 2016, project M3-P013.
This is the contract for environmental remediation in the Upper Park. It's being funded 80-20 by Brownsfield's funds and 20 by the city. There are a few spots out there that the soil needs to be excavated and replaced, and it will be ongoing while the utilities work is going on down there.
This resolution did come before the Park Subcommittee yesterday and was unanimously recommended. A second, please. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? This resolution passes as well. Our next item of business comes to us with the approval of the Convention Center Subcommittee, and it is to recommend the resolution approving final specifications for MAPS 3 Convention Center site mowing, weed eating, weed control, and debris removal, and authorize the city clerk to advertise for bids to be received on July 26, 2016, project M3-C006.
As we acquire the land in the convention center area, much like we did with the park, we assume the maintenance issues, and this is a contract that allows us to get somebody down there and mow and trim and keep the grass and weeds down. And then after the demolition that we'll have, there will also be the need for mowing the grass that will be there. So that's what this covers.
It would be nice if we could offer to invite the Hefner goats every once in a while to munch on things, maybe in between mowing. All right, a second? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? This resolution passes as well. Our next item comes to us with approval from the Fairgrounds Subcommittee, and that is to recommend the resolution approving change order number 17, MAPS 3 Oklahoma State Fairgrounds, Phase 2, new expo building, which is an increase of $56,460.52, project M3-5002.
This is a change order for the expo building. There are 8 items on here. The largest items on here are like item 1, the door framing had to be revised because of the manufacturer did not make a door that was actually that tall as shown on the plans, and we had to bring the framing down a little bit to match that. There were some additional control and contraction joints. It was in the field, they decided that the situation was such that we needed to have some more joints, and the joints are like a weakened plane within the slab that forces it to crack in those places so that it doesn't randomly crack across the slab. So we felt like it was a good idea to add some of these joints and salt joints. Then we have additional power for a popcorn machine that the fairgrounds staff requested, and it needed a whole circuit by itself. Then there's some jam extensions on item 7. The columns at the entry and on the side entries, it was decided that the material that was going to be used wasn't the look that the fairgrounds staff wanted, so we're looking at an alternate finish, something like limestone or a man-made limestone. So in order to do that, they're going to set off the columns about 6 inches so that they can go ahead and do the windows, the glass and the frames in there, and come back and enclose those columns at a later time. So that's what that is for. And then there's some additional concrete forms around some of the columns, again, for isolation of expansion and contraction between the column footings and the slab. We felt like it was a good idea to add some of this formwork. So I can answer any questions you might have beyond that.
Bob, did you have any comments from the subcommittee?
Subcommittee discussed each of the items, and we were all in agreement they should be approved.
I might say that I commend your subcommittee on having so many change orders to a contract and just exemplifying how these projects are truly work in progress, and that just because plans and designs aren't made, that as we learn or experience new things to improve the projects for all of the citizens, that we take full advantage of that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Without any more discussion, a motion for approval? Second, please. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This resolution passes as well. We're moving right along, David.
Okay.
Okay, so now we move on to the next resolution, which comes to us with approval from the River Subcommittee, and that is to recommend the resolution approving change order number 16 for MAPS 3 Oklahoma River Phase 3 Whitewater Facility, increase of $44,215.06, project M3-R004/WC-010817/SC0912.
There are many items on this change order. There are 19 items, but many of them are very small. They're just little things that came up right before the opening that we had to take care of, or things that need to be taken care of for Department of Labor, or some things that the Boathouse Foundation wanted. There's even a $10,000 credit on here. So as far as the highlights here, fencing needed to be changed for fire marshal access. That's item 1. Item 5, $7,683. The conveyor that brings the kayaks and the rafts up to the upper pool. If you're down there on the bottom side, somebody could go around there, and there's some parts that are moving that could be a hazard. So we are putting a cover on that and then putting a fence in there so that somebody won't get up in there. There's an acid room exhaust revision for $7,800. There's the ozone modification. Some of these things, as I said, came up as we began to operate the facility. The ozone modification is actually a situation that wasn't anticipated because the ozone equipment is in a separate room, and didn't realize it would put off so much heat, and the heat that it was putting off was not good for the electronics. As I said, there's a lot of really small items. There's $377 and there's $435. So I anticipate one more change order for the Whitewater facility as we final that up, and I hope to bring that to you next month along with a final acceptance. So I think that most of you have seen the facility. We're very pleased with how it's turned out. I can answer any other questions.
Any questions from the subcommittee? This did come with our recommendation. Second on that? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? This resolution passes. Our next resolution is to recommend a resolution approving change order number 2 and amendment number 5, MAPS 3 Phase 2 Project 1 sidewalk improvements, increase of $49,468. That's project M3-W002. I understand that the Trails and Sidewalks Subcommittee did not have a quorum yesterday, but those who were in attendance were in favor of moving that forward. Am I correct there, Susan? David?
There are two items on this. There's decorative railing, and what this is the Shepherd Hills area, which is essentially across from former Shepherd Mall. The slopes are pretty significant in there, and when we put the sidewalk next to the street, we had to build a retaining wall, and those retaining walls got to be between 3 and 5 feet high. The code doesn't necessarily require that we put a handrail on there, but I felt like it was prudent that we communicate with the property owners to find out if they wanted it, because they would be up there on top mowing the lawn or dealing with flowers or just walking around up there. So we contacted each of them. Some of them have asked that we put the railing up there, and some have not. And this $30,400 is to place the rail for those people who want to do that. This also went to the Historic Preservation Committee, and they've approved the rail itself. And then item 1 on the amendment is what we commonly see is just adjustments to the quantities as we're out there in the field building it. It might be a little more sidewalk, a little more driveway, a little more retaining wall.
Any questions on this item? Motion for approval. A second, please. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? This resolution passes as well. Do we have any new business before us today?
I do not have anything.
Okay, thank you. At this point in time, we have our MAPS 3 Citizen Advisory Board Subcommittee reports. 2 of our committees did not meet this month. Senior Health and Wellness nor Streetcar had a meeting. I invite any of the other subcommittees if they'd have something that they would like to add at this point. Mr. Todd, do you have any updates for us?
As far as
Subcommittees?
yeah, we had a groundbreaking for the Senior Wellness last week for Senior Wellness number 2, and that went very well. It was well attended. Happy to have that behind us. That's all I have.
Okay. Moving on now to our informational items.
Item A is the assignment of the vice chair for the coming year, and the vice chair will be Zane Boatwright. And then you have in your packet also the Lower Park property acquisition status map, and you can see that it's coming along well with the various shades of blue, either properties that we own or under contract or offer made. Then we also have the site acquisition status map for the convention center. You can see that it also has come along very well with only a couple of properties that we still need to acquire.
David, on the Lower Park acquisition, what's the status on the CUSAC?
We're still communicating with him and his attorney and negotiating that. It's still
Do
ongoing.
we think we're going to be able to get it included in the park?
I don't know. It's still ongoing.
The Park Subcommittee has faith that we will be able to reach an agreement on this, although there is still a lot of work involved. And when that agreement is reached, it will be brought to the Park Subcommittee, so I will share that with you at that time.
And then continuing on, we have D&E's 2 purchase agreements for park, and for the park. And then the remaining ones are permanent or temporary easements for sidewalks and trail projects.
David, can you remind us what the difference is between a temporary easement and a permanent easement on these projects?
Sure. A permanent easement is where we would get easement or buy land so that we could place facilities in there like a trail or sidewalk. Temporary is used so that if there's adjacent things that need to be adjusted, say you're putting in a sidewalk and the driveway the grade on the driveway needs to change, but when you change it, the grade going back into the property owner's property is too steep. In order to revise that grade, we get a temporary easement that allows us, and it's basically an agreement with the property owner that he knows that we're going to be replacing his driveway to a certain point. Also, sometimes there's conditions where the contractor might need more space to work. So we'd get a temporary easement so that they can get their machines and equipment back on there and then restore it.
Now we have our update and status on the MAPS 3 program as a whole.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chairman. On the river, as we know and we just discussed, the Whitewater facility is complete, and most of the projects down there are complete. Senior Wellness, as you said, didn't meet this month, but there's a lot of activity going on with Senior Wellness. So we have Wellness Center 1 under construction, and there was a tour last week on that. And then Wellness Center 2 is under construction, and as I mentioned, there was recently a groundbreaking on that. And then also the RFP for the operator for Wellness Center number 3 has been received and is in review. We received one proposal on that, so we need to review that proposal and see that it meets the requirements. And Trails and Sidewalks has a lot going also. Phase 2 Trails is in design and acquiring right-of-way, and I anticipate that being out to bid very shortly. Phase 3 Trails is in design. Phase 2 Sidewalks Project 2, as you saw, the amendment is in construction. Phase 3 Sidewalks Project 1 and 2 are acquiring right-of-way, and I believe we just received bids on that last week on Project 1, and it was under budget. Then Phase 4 Sidewalks are in design. Convention Center has a lot going on also with site acquisition, as you saw on the map, and preliminary design is well underway there, and also coordination between the Convention Center and the park and the streetcar. Fairgrounds Expo building is under construction. They have about 40% of the floor poured in the main expo hall, and it has really changed the look of that structure out there, and I hope to have another tour and to get anybody who wants to go out and see that out there so they can see the expanse of that building. Park, as was mentioned, the design of the upper park continues. Utility relocations are underway. If you go down to the park area, you'll see nothing but work. There's a lot of it going on down there. And then preliminary design of the lower park is underway. Streetcar made great strides on that. The track has been ordered, and we're expecting the first delivery in September. Streetcars have been ordered. Mainline construction is in design and is nearing completion, and the maintenance facility is out for bids. I can tell you that we had a pre-bid meeting for the maintenance facility, and we had 16 general contractors show up. That's all I have.
Very good. Well, certainly after hearing this report and being in your office yesterday, Mr. Todd, I had a great visual reminder of how much work not only you, but your entire staff and the entire MAPS 3 program puts into all of these projects. The amount of details, paperwork, things that get processed and coordinated, and certainly also with the supervision of ADG and this operational program. It's amazing, and I'm very proud to be part of it, and thank you all very much for your work. At this point in time, I would invite any comments from other board members or staff. None being said, this is also the time where I would invite anyone from the public to come up and speak. No one? Okay. Well, if we would like, we could end this meeting in 23 minutes. And a second? All approved? Thank you very much. Have a very safe and happy 4th of July. And remember, on those hot days when you need a little cool, head over to River Sport Rapids. It's fun for everyone, families included. Thank you.